Hello everybody, welcome back to another Expeditions Guide. Today we're taking a look at Quicksand. This is a task in the Sonoran Desert to unlock the KRS 58 Bandit. For this task we're going to be using the Thatcher Force, and I have with me anchors, jack screws, and all kinds of fuel. I have the fuel tank add-on and the fuel in the sideboard beds. We may not need all that fuel, but this one can be a bit tricky, and so we're going to make sure we have all the fuel we need. So we're basically going to follow this path out of the central outpost, down the hill, down the river, up this hill, and over into the bottom of the crater where the bandit is, and then we're just going to bring it back. So it sounds easier than it actually is. So let me show you how it's done. So we're starting from the task pickup location, which is just outside of the outpost there. So from there we're going to drive back through the outpost and make our way over to the bandit. So we're going to go right through these rocks here, and then we're going to go around them on the left here. We're going to climb up and over this rock, and down, and we're going to stay on the right side here so we can go across this crack in the ground. And then from here, it's pretty much just a flat open area, so we're just going to go ahead and follow this path all the way down to the hill climb to use to get down to the river. Alright, so once we make it over to the tree, we're going to go to the right side of the tree here. So that is going to give us our spot where we can climb down. And pay attention to these rock ledges because we're going to have to climb back over them later. And it is not as fun as it sounds. So we're just going to make our way down here. We're just going to take it nice and slow. Just roll down the hill. And from here, we're going to go up over this hill. When we get over this hill, very important, you want to stay to the left side here. If you go down to the right side, that is a little drop-off that you can't really get out of. So then we're going to cut across here. And from here, we're going to make our way across the mud here. And then we're going to go up on the left side here. And then from here, we're going to jump down into the water. And then we need to make it up the hill. So we're going to go ahead and go right up through this gap here. Going to climb this all the way up. And then we're going to proceed up the big hill here. Now, I will say, from my own experience doing these truck rescues, of all the truck rescues in the game, this is, without a doubt, the hardest. I don't think there's an objective in this game that I have seen so far that is more difficult than unlocking the Bandit. So we're going to go right around the right side here. And then from here, you want to cut across here. So we want to try to avoid these big cracks in the ground. We're going to go down here and work our way up. There we go. And now we climb down. Alright, so now that we have reached the truck, our first order of business is going to be to turn this thing around. Wasn't quite what I was wanting to happen. Alright, so once we get a hold of the front of the Bandit, we'll be able to just pull this thing up. There we go. Might have to fire it on for just a moment. But I will say, the Bandit does not have a ton of fuel in it, so you really do not want to run it unless you absolutely have to. So once we got a hold of it, we're just going to pull it up the hill. So we're kind of hung up, so we're going to fire it up. And you're going to get a little bit of distance, so we're going to have a little bit more grip. There we go. Once it's free, you can pull it all the way up here. Come on, buddy. I know you want to make it. Let's go. Alright, so part one is taken care of. We got the Bandit out of the crater. Now we just need to get it to the base. So we're going to go ahead and cut across the desert ground here. And then we're going to go ahead and make our way down the hill. Now we do kind of want to take it easy here, because the last thing we need is the Bandit flipping over. If the Bandit flips over, you are going to have a bad time. So we're actually going to just let it push us forward a little bit, keep the brake held, as we just kind of roll down the hill. We want it to follow us, so we're going to take it nice and easy. Then we're going to make our way down to our other climb. And with this one, we're going to take a nice wide sweeping turn. so that we can hit this turn just perfectly. Back up just a little bit. We're going to go around the right side here, and we're actually going to go off this little drop here. So you want to go straight forward with it. And that is going to keep the Bandit upright as long as you hit that at a direct straight angle. So from here we can just go straight forward. And let me go ahead and switch it to daytime for you guys. You can see a little better. So we're going to climb right down this rock here. And this part here, this is one of the tricky spots, getting across this gap. Climb over this. The Tatra should be able to just pull this thing right across. There we go. Once we get that across, we're going to go over the left side here. And again, we are trying to save as much fuel on the Bandit for the final climb. We did have to use a little bit of fuel to get it up out of the crater. And this is another one of those spots you want to make sure the Bandit is nice and close to you because you don't want it to fall down there. So we're just going to kind of hug the canyon wall there. Let the Bandit come across. And now we climb. And we climb like you've never climbed before. If you are struggling with this, you can use that little plateau right to our right there, or even this one here, to straighten the Bandit out and get a better angle with it. We need to get off of these rocks here. There we go. And this is the hardest part right here. This ledge is the worst part of this climb. So actually what I'm going to do, move the Bandit there. I'm actually going to push it backwards a little bit so I can climb up on this left side of the ledge. Is that not going to work? Okay, so I'm actually going to put an anchor down right here. Because what I need to do is I need to get the Tatra up over this ledge first. So we're going to get the Tatra up and over the ledge. And then from here we're going to use our winch. And we're going to go ahead and grab onto our Bandit. We're going to fire this thing up. We can see we got a tire up on the ledge. Good to have enough oomph. There we go. We got it up over the ledge. That is the hardest part of this mission, right there. that final ledge is the hardest part of rescuing the bandit. And you saw with just a little bit of strategy with getting the Thatcher up the hill and then pulling the bandit the rest of the way, it was easily able to climb that ledge. I have done this rescue in the past with trucks like the Step. I do not recommend it. If you're going to come after this bandit, if you want to rescue this bandit, make sure you have the Thatcher force and as many upgrades as possible on this thing. I have the biggest engine, I have the twin motor winch, so I have the more powerful winch, I have the MHS Tire 4, and I have the rock crawler kit on it. So I have a pretty beefy Thatcher force here, and look at that, I didn't even need all of my extra fuel. Let's just go ahead and refuel a little bit just for good measure, but I did not even need all of that extra fuel. Alright, so we're going to bounce over here, get across this crack in the ground. And we're not quite done yet, we still got a little ways to go. So we're going to go ahead and move up this rock. But yeah, this is definitely the hardest expedition, task, mission, contract, whatever. It's a task, it's an expedition. This is the hardest one in the game, in my opinion. Just because of the sheer difficulty of the climb you have to do to get this thing. Now, you could probably take a longer route and avoid the climb. But that climb is, you know, the quickest way to do it. So, that being said, this unlocks the KRS 58 Bandit, as well as Bruce Brown, a new hydrologist for you. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this guide. Let me know what you think. I'm curious to hear about your stories about rescuing the bandit. And, yeah, it is a cool one. And, enjoy the truck. It is a great truck for expeditions. It's a fantastic truck. So, thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.